I'm DJ Schurz.
I'm Professor E, and this is JD.
And this is the robot program. And in today's episode, we're going to teach you how to turn this into this. So let's go to the studio and see how it's done.
We're going to show you how to build your Revolution JD robot. DJ, how do we get started?
Well, we're going to start by downloading and installing the Easy Builder software. So to your computer, let's load up your web browser and visit www.easy-robot.com. Click the Software tab from the top menu and locate the Download Easy Builder installer. When you click on that, the file will start downloading right away. Now that your file is downloaded, click on it to begin the install. And we'll click Next. Select Typical as the install type and click Install. So now that Easy Builder is loaded, it's going to bring you the terms of use, which is actually the same insert that you received inside of your robot box. This here. So we're going to go through each one of these and click I agree at the end and then push the OK button. Okay, so now it's going to ask you to create your account settings so you can sign up to the Easy Robot to obtain all of the files and the install files and the projects. So if you're an existing user, you can enter your existing information or you can push new create new account. So I'm going to enter in my information here and I'm going to push save. And it's going to verify my password and save it. There we go. Okay. So next we're presented with an option to enroll in Easy Robot School. So we're going to choose our JD project because that's the robot that we're building today. It's going to bring you directly to the website of Easy Robot, and it's going to bring you to a page titled Revolution JD, which is actually the JD school. So in here you can learn how to put the robot together. It's essentially all of the things you're going to learn in the robot program in these episodes put into the into instruction form for you to follow. So we're going to close this down because we don't need this right now. And now we're back in our software where it's asking us, do we want to download the easy bits? Now all of the parts that we're going to be putting the robot together with are actually easy bits and they need to be downloaded to your computer. So we're going to push the sync button and the computer is going to go off and obtain all those design files. There you go. So next it's going to ask you, do you want to see how to put this robot together? We're going to click yes. And it's going to bring you to the assembly screen. We're going to push the next button here. And now it says, okay, we can start building our robot. So let's start with the humanoid body as chest and shoulder servos. So why don't you pass me that? Oh, and as you can see here, we have the battery charger still connected to it. That's because we charge our battery before we try to do anything with our robot.
Very important.
Very important. So we'll disconnect the battery charger here. Now we're going to need to insert into our EasyB brain into the body. And here she is. So this is the computer. We're going to gently push and insert it into the body so it's snug in there. And now it's asking us to connect the left shoulder to port D3 and the right shoulder to port D2. Now these type of connectors are called a female connector, or male connector, sorry. And these are called female connectors. And you'll see here the wires coming out of the robot body are labeled R and L. If I flip the robot around to look like it does on the screen, you'll see the shoulders are lined up this way, not this way. So you want these to be like that, like the screen is showing. This would be his left side, this would be his right side. So if JD was facing you, that would be his right, that would be his left. So if I have a servo here marked R, that would be his right servo, right shoulder. So we're going to connect his right shoulder to port D2. And you'll locate the D2 port here. But you see that if you can look in here, that's D0, D1. So it starts at D0. So let's grab our guide, and we'll see here that D0 is the beginning, D1, D2, D3, etc. So let's go right shoulder, letter R, port D2. So 0, 1, 2. So it's the third one down. And then the left is port D3, which is going to be the right one. Now you'll notice when I plug these in that I'm connecting the black wire is aligned with the black pins of the EZB. Okay, if you plug that in the other way, it won't work. It requires you to line up the black to the black. Okay, so now let's push next on our build instructions here. And a head appears. Okay, this was the fun part.
Okay, so we can see again, we've got a couple of our male to female connectors, and those let us have a nice secure connection. And it looks like we have a couple extra ones too.
That's right. So you'll see that these wires here, that'll be wrapped around the neck, are for different servos. And you'll see in the software, it'll mention that you have horizontal servo is port D0 and vertical servo is port D1. So what's horizontal and what's vertical? Well, horizontal means left and right, and vertical means up and down. This one here. So this is your vertical servo, and the servo inside of his head here is his horizontal servo. So let's first connect his body to the head. Click. And now let's look at the instructions, and it says a horizontal servo is going to be D0. So the horizontal servo is the servo wire that comes out of the back of the head. So we'll connect that to D0. And the vertical is D1. And again, we got the black line wires lined up here. Now we have two extra wires that are lying here. Well, we do know in the instructions here it says connect the camera and the RGB eyes. So let's look at our instructions, and you'll see here that the camera port is the big one, and the RGB eyes connect to an I2C port, and you'll see there's 3 I2C ports here. Well, the camera port, here's the big one here, can only connect one place. You can't connect it anywhere else. So you can't make a mistake here. So let's take the camera port, plug and connect it right in there. There it is. Now the RGB eyes, you'll see that it's supposed to connect to one of these I2C ports. Any of these it can connect to. It doesn't matter. So we can connect to any of these. I'll just put it in this one here. There we go. Okay, so now let's take a look in our software and see what is next. Now we have to get his left upper arm. So we'll need a servo for that.
And we can use any one of the 6 servos.
That's right, they're all the same. So his left arm is going to be on this side. So you're going to look at the orientation of the servo. In this particular case, all of these shoulders are lined up correctly, just like the software. And I'll put the cursor over the software here so you can see what I'm referring to, right there. The servo is not located like that. It is like that. And now this servo is going to go into this slot, this easy clip here, and it's going to be aligned with the white on the bottom and the black on top. If you look in the software, you'll also notice that there's a line here referring to this line here, as well as you can see the characteristics here that you can tell is here as well. So this connects to port D4. So if we look at our little letters here, we'll see that D4 is this one right here. The 5th one down. And of course we line up our black wire. And now let's push next again. Okay, now we connect port D5 for his left upper arm.
So again, we've got the white on the bottom, wire out the back.
And D5. Okay, and let's see what we have next. Ooh, gripper.
Gripper, okay.
Gripper.
Now, does it matter which gripper?
It doesn't matter which gripper. It does matter, well, it doesn't really matter, but it'll be nicer if you put the gripper on with the wire coming out the back of the gripper. Just that way you don't have it coming out the front and it doesn't get all tangled up. Now it wants to connect this to port D6. So if I look here, that says D6. That's good. Let's plug that in. Perfect. Let's see what's next. Oh, now we start on his other arm. I need another servo for that. Thank you. clip a servo in.
Good, so again, we got to make sure that his servo orientation is right.
That's correct. And it wants this on port D7. And if I look closely here, that would be D7 right there.
It's almost like you're doing surgery on his back.
That's right. It's really neat watching a robot come together. You can start seeing his personality already, hey? Okay, now we'll go next. And his forearms. We'll need another servo for that. Thank you. And this is port D8. There we go. Next. Oh, another gripper. Great.
So again, we've got wires coming out the back.
That's right. Just rock that into place. There we go. And this plugs into port D9. Okay. Oh, look at that. He's really coming along. All right, so let's push next again. Now we start with his left upper leg. So we'll need another servo for that.
Okay.
And in the image, you'll see here that the white part would be facing on the out edge. And you will also see here that there's a line here representing this line here. So we're going to want to put the servo like that. And this connects to port D12. And D12 starts at the bottom, the first pin on the bottom row. There we go. And let's go to the next. And no, now we get right to his feet. All right.
Okay.
So you see his feet are both different. So if you look at the screen, you're going to want this foot. So if you look at the screen, you'll notice that, and I'll highlight the area we're referring to, that there's a space here. Just unwrap these wires so you can see better. There. So this space here, you can see here on the screen as well. So we're going to want to connect.
And if you're having trouble connecting, just try wiggling a little bit. Rock it back and forth.
Now, in the software, it's going to tell us that we want to connect the ankle to D14 and the knee to D13. So let's find out what those are. So this here is the knee. You can see it says knee. And this wire coming off out of his foot is the ankle. So we're going to connect his knee to D13. So that's 12. The next one is 13. And then we want to connect his ankle, this one here, to D14. Again, paying attention to the black to make sure the black connects to the black. I bet you can guess what's coming up next.
I think so.
All right, so another servo, and we connect this one. If we look here, it's going to be the opposite orientation as that one. It's going to go like that. And we're going to unwrap the wire here. Oh, look, the wire comes out the front. Not a problem. What we're going to do here is we're going to push the wire through this bracket and pull it out so the wire comes out the back of the servo. And this plugs into D16. So it looks like it skips one and it goes to D16. So the next group here. So we'll plug that into that one there. There we go. Okay. And another foot. That's all we have left, isn't it?
All right, last stage of our humanoid robot here.
Cool. Okay, so we'll slide that in. And again, unwrap our wires here. Okay, so we know that this is the ankle, comes out of his foot. And this comes out of his knee, so that's his knee. So the knee goes to D17, which is there. And the ankle goes to D18, which is right there. Well, that was easy.
Looks great.
We got a robot. We built a robot. So now that we have the robot built, you'll see the robot on the screen that's completed. And we got these buttons down here called views, where we can actually look at the robot in 3D from different directions. So we can just make sure that we built it correctly. It looks like we did.
Looks
All right.
good.
Yeah, so what's next?
All right, now we have my favorite part of all your supplies. These.
Oh, those.
All right, so this is going to help you keep your robot nice and tidy so that the wires aren't getting in the way of JD's movement. Can you show us how to use these?
Yeah, so these are wire wraps, and let me just put these down. What we're going to do is we're going to wrap these, see how they twist around like this, around the wires to hold the robot wires steady so that they don't get caught up. Because right now, look at that, it's like spaghetti. Not very appetizing as spaghetti though.
He's going to trip over his own wires.
He will. So we're going to start by taking his wires. Now we don't want them to be too tight. We don't want to go all the way like this, because then if he goes to move, you can see how that's going to pull. So we're going to give it some slack here and grab all these wires, say right to there.
It's almost like we're giving him a shirt. So if you had a shirt that was really tight on your arms, you're not going to be able to move your elbow.
That's a really good example. And now we're going to take this wire wrap and we're going to start here, and we are going to wrap it around the wire. Just like that. All the way around. This is actually very soothing.
I love these. I think they work great. Keeps all your connections nice and tidy.
That's right. Do, almost done wrapping wires. Wrapping wires. Okay, there we go.
Look how good that looks.
So if I move this arm, look at that. It doesn't get caught. And there's enough slack here, so that's good. All right, so let's do his other arm here. And we'll do the exact same thing now. We're going to grab the 3 wires, and we're going to give it a little bit of slack. Just make sure it's good. Maybe right about there. And we'll group them together, and we'll do the same thing. We'll wrap these wires and clean them all up. Dun, 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 dun. What's your favorite part, is it?
My favorite part.
More fun than turning the robot on?
Oh, that's pretty fun.
Yeah,
This way I know he's going to be able to move nice and safe.
that's right. And when you show people your robot, it's not as intimidating with all the wires wrapped up.
It's going to look pretty cool.
That's right. Okay, that looks good. Now, let's do his feet. So we don't want to wrap both feet together with just one of these. We definitely want to separate those.
It's going to be like a 3-legged race otherwise.
He would, yes. So let's separate these wires, and let's make sure that we grab 3 per leg. So here's one leg, and this time we're going to start wrapping at the base of the EZB and wrap backwards. Okay, we're going to do it different for his legs. There we go. And now let's wrap. And wrap. We should make up a wrap for wrapping.
A wrap for wrapping?
Wrap.
I'm not very good at wrapping. I don't know. I'll give you the beat.
Maybe we can teach JD how to wrap.
Oh, that's a good idea.
Yeah, future episode. And we're done. Look at that. So that's one leg. And good. It's always good to test them after you wrap just to make sure he's got his full motion. Okay, now we got the next one here. So again, we were going to start from the base here. And start wrapping. Sometimes I get confused. I always wonder which way they're supposed to wrap when I start.
I find the easiest way is to put it a little bit in the middle, and then you can,
Okay.
it's just like braiding hair. You know what direction you have to go.
Yeah, I know exactly what it's like to braid hair. I braid mine all the time. My golden locks. Okay, so let's finish wrapping this up. Oh, it's great. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So it's okay that I move the joints when even though he's not powered up, to position him. So that's not going to hurt him at all. So, nice. I think we did a really good job.
He looks great.
Yeah. All right, we get a high five for this.
All right.
Nice.
In today's episode, we learned how to build the Revolution JD Humanoid robot. Let's review what we learned. The first thing we need to do is download the Easy Builder software. Once inside the software, we can view more tutorials online, and we can also follow along with the building instructions. Before we start building, you want to make sure that you've got your JD robot fully charged and that you disconnect the charger. All of JD's connections connect at the back into the EasyB brain. You can see the robot controller connections in your Getting Started guide. JD's connections use male to female connections at each of the ports. This gives us a nice secure connection. We want to make sure when using these connections that we line up the black wires and the white wires to their appropriate ports. It's a good idea to have all your wires coming out the back of your pieces so that they come together in a nice organized way. We can also use the wire wrap to contain these wires so they don't restrict JD's movement. Thank you for watching this episode of the Robot Program. We'll see you next time.
JD's cables are what type of connection? What is the label of the first digital port? Why is wire wrapping a good idea? Find the answers at therobotprogram.com.